Starfield is one of the most expected, if not the most expected game of the year, and some people expect it with more excitement than others. But can this game be the end of Bethesda? Well, let's find out. If you somehow don't know what Starfield is, let me tell you. Starfield is the new IP of Bethesda because basically they got tired of making more money than they know what to do with the Fallout series and Skyrim mostly because they released it like 8 times. So they decided to give themselves a side quest to make more money, and this side quest is Starfield. And the idea of Starfield is pretty great. It's an open world Bethesda game that takes place in space. It's a great idea, right? It's open world, you get to explore worlds, you have ships to customize, you mine for resources, build your own base. It sounds great, right? Well, yes, it does, but is it too good to be true? A couple of months ago we got some gameplay demos of Starfield and they look great, but there are a couple of worrying things that can be seen in there. And mainly, the combat doesn't look that great, to be honest. It's just an average FPS type of combat. And the mining for resources, it depends how they approach it. If you have to farm for hours and hours and hours for resources to build some stupid base, well, that's gonna suck a bit. But from the gameplay demos, it's like Fallout combined with No Man's Sky, but I wouldn't quite put it like this because it's more than that. In the gameplay footage, we got to see cities and a couple of planets that look amazing. But don't get your hopes up, because we know from the game announcement that this game is gonna have like 1,000 planets, but don't think that every planet is going to be like the ones that we've seen in the demos. No, there are probably going to be like 10 planets, maybe like 20, designed very in depth by Bethesda, and then the others are just going to be resource planets that you just go there for resources and there's nothing to see. But why did I ask at the beginning of the video if Starfield could be the end of Bethesda? Well, do you remember Fallout 76? Yeah, unfortunately me too. Well, Bethesda actually suffered from that game. If you remember how it launched, it was a disaster, and I would say even worse than Cyberpunk. And Bethesda can't repeat that with Starfield because it will really damage the name and image of the company. But there are a few good signs, and namely that the game has been delayed a couple of times, and that means that the developers understand how important it is for the game to launch properly. So I think that's why they delayed it, to not launch a messy game, right? So could this game be the end of Bethesda? Well, imagine this. Starfield comes out, it's a disaster. It runs poorly, it's nothing like we expected. 5 years pass, and then The Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. Will you not really buy The Elder Scrolls 6 just because Starfield, a side quest from Bethesda, came out poorly? Well, yeah, you're going to buy it anyway, and Bethesda knows that. But in my opinion, I think Starfield will launch properly because Bethesda want to cleanse their name from Fallout 76, and if this game launches like a great game, it's going to build the hype for The Elder Scrolls 6 even more, and I think that's what Bethesda ultimately wants. Because, let's be honest, Starfield, it's a big game, right? But it's not as big as The Elder Scrolls 6. Everybody expects that game, right? It's been what, 12 years? Come on, that's a lifetime. So, as a summary, do I think this will be the end of Bethesda? No. But there is a chance that we'll get to see a Bethesda moment and the game will launch poorly. But it's unlikely. If you like this video, subscribe and like. Goodbye.